All right, this is a continuation of lesson 9.3, multiplying binomials. We ran out of time last time, so all we're going to do here is our example 4. There are two methods for example 4. So the first method is to multiply the trinomial and the binomial vertically. It's our vertical method. We're still trying to multiply these two polynomials together, and we're going to start with the vertical method. So that means I'm going to stack them. I have 3x squared minus 2x plus 3, and then below that I'm going to stack the 2x plus 7. This is very similar to the way you normally multiply. So we start over here to the right. We're going to multiply 7 times every term in our top trinomial. Then we'll multiply 2x times every term. So it's very similar to what you're used to in multiplying. So we'll start with 7. 7 times 3 is 21, and it's positive. 7 times negative 2x, that's negative 14x. And finally, 7 times 3x squared is 21x squared. Now, just like you do in regular multiplication, you have to move over a spot. You have to leave a space there. Just like you would put a 0 there, we have to leave a space so we can start multiplying by our other term of 2x. So I have 2x times 3, which is 6x. 2x times negative 2x, which is negative 4x squared. And finally, we have 2x times 3x squared, which is 6x cubed. All right, now just like you do in regular multiplication, we need to add all these up. So I have 21. A positive 21, negative 14x, and I believe that was supposed to be a positive 6x, negative 14x and positive 6x, that's a negative 8x, 21x squared minus 4x squared, 21 minus 4 is 17x squared, and it's a positive 17x squared, and then we just bring down our 6x cubed. And there we have the vertical method of multiplying a trinomial and a binomial. So that's one way you could do it. Let's also now try the horizontal method. So over here we'll do method 2, which is the horizontal method. So we're going to leave it just like it is. But when you do the horizontal method, it's usually easier if you write the binomial first. And since we're multiplying, the order doesn't matter. So I'm going to start with 2x plus 7 times 3x squared minus 2x plus 3. Now we're just going to distribute like we've been doing, but we just need to make sure that 2x, we multiply 2x times everything in this trinomial, and that we multiply 7 times everything in this trinomial, and we'll add it all up, combine like terms and all that. So it's kind of like foiling, except we're not doing two binomials, so we can't use FOIL, but I'll do 2x times 3x squared. We've got to be organized here. So 2x times 3x squared, 6x cubed. 2 times 3 is 6. X times x squared, 6x cubed. Then 2x times negative 2x. 2 times negative 2, negative 4. X times x, x squared. And finally, we need to multiply 2x times 3. 2x times 3 is a positive 6x. Now we've successfully multiplied 2x times every term in this trinomial. So we'll do the same with 7. So I'll start with 7 times 3x squared, which is a positive 21x squared. And then we have 7 times negative 2x, negative 14x. And finally, we have 7 times 3, which is plus 21. Now we have lots of like terms we can combine. We always start with the highest degree, which in this case is the cubed. 6x cubed, I have no other 6x cubes, so I'm done with that. And we have negative 4x squared and positive 21x squared. So 21 minus 4 is positive 17x squared. Then we have our x terms, positive 6x, negative 14x, 6x minus 14x, negative 8x. And finally, our constant that's all alone, plus 21. And would you look at that? We got the same thing that we did in our vertical method. And you should. As long as you did them both correctly, you should always get the same answer. Let's try one more. We'll do the quick check 4, and then we'll be finished with our lesson. quick check 4. They want us to simplify 6n minus 8 times the quantity 2n squared plus n plus 7. Okay, we need to use both examples like we were shown in example 4. So I'll start by just doing the horizontal method since it's really already set up for that. So we just need to multiply 6n times everything in this trinomial and negative 8 times everything in this second polynomial. So I have 6n times 2n squared, 6 times 2, 12, n times n squared, n cubed. Then we have 6n times n, so that's a positive 6n squared. Finally, we have 6n times 7. 6 times 7 is, I'm drawing a blank here. 6 times 7 is 42, so plus 42n. And then we'll move down to the negative 8. Negative 8 times 2n squared, negative 16n squared. Then we have negative 8 times n, negative 8n, and finally negative 8 times 7, which is negative 56. All right, that's a lot of terms. We want to consolidate that. We need to go ahead and combine all of our like terms. So we have 12n cubed. It has no like terms. Done with that. 6n squared and negative 16n squared. So we end up with a negative 10 squared, negative 10n squared. And then we have positive 42 and negative 8n. We end up with a 36, 34. So we have plus 34n. And finally, negative 56 minus 56. We have combined all of our like terms, so we are finished with the horizontal method. Now let's try the vertical method. Now with vertical, horizontal, it's nice to have the binomial first. It's just usually easier. But if you're going to do the vertical method, it's usually easier to have the trinomial on top. That way you're doing less multiplying, or less work, I guess. So we have 2n squared plus n plus 7 on top, and then 6n minus 8 on the bottom. Remember, we just multiply like normal. Start with negative 8 times everything. So we have negative 8 times 7, negative 56, negative 8 times n, negative 8n, and negative 8 times 2n squared, negative 16n squared. Now we need to move over 1 just like we do in normal multiplication. 6n times 7 is 42n. 6n times n is 6n squared. We got that positive right there. 6n times 12n squared is 12n cubed. Just barely got it in there. Okay. Now we need to add these up. Bring down your negative 56. Negative 8n and positive 32n leaves us with a positive 34n. And then we have negative 16n squared and positive 6n squared. So we end up with a positive 10, we end up with a negative 10n because of that negative 16, negative 10n squared. And finally, we bring down the 12n cubed. So either way, we end up with 12n cubed minus 10n squared plus 34n minus 56. And that is it for lesson 9-3.